following along with some of the other videos that I've made for you, you'll notice that whenever we had a little bit of soap left over, I would say just leave it in the dish and pop it over there. We'll find a use for it later. So let's say you've been soap making all day long and you've used your little silicone cups, and look, they come out cleanly, but you want something to do with all of these. You don't want to throw them out, you don't want to mix them all up. Well, you've got a choice. We've put a whole lot of them into here. You could mix that all up, and as I mentioned to you, that's going to come out quite brown if you do it that way. Or you could choose to melt all these little bits down and do something with them and use them all up, which is what I do. With all of the orders that we send out, we often include little samples of the soap as a free gift, and so I'm always looking for little moulds. I love these ones. These are the little Lego men, and they only use a tiny bit of soap, so they're really great to use up all your little leftovers. The star shapes are good. We've also got a love heart, and also these tubular moulds. If you've got a whole lot and you want to make a whole lot of guest soaps really quickly, that's a great way to do it. So what I'm going to do is show you how to use up your leftovers, and at the same time we're going to make a whole lot of little guest soaps. Now if you've got that sort of soap, let's pop it and see how much is in there. Okay, so it's about 5 ml thick. That's probably enough to use up. If you've got something like this green one where there's really not much left in there, I'd probably just add a little bit more into that just to give it enough to melt, otherwise it won't melt. Let's open up the microwave and we'll pop all of our leftover bits and pieces in here, the whole lot of them, all at once. The pink one in the middle, and the green, and the brown, and I've run out of room. There's a sparkly one. That one would actually come up really pretty, but we'll leave that for later. Okay, let's put that power time. Now there's only a little bit of soap, so if you cook it too hot, poof, it'll all go everywhere. So we're better off to do it in 10-second increments and keep doing it. There's a lot more of them, so it will take longer, but we don't want them all to bubble over into each other. So we'll have a look at that every 10 seconds and see how we'll go. You might have noticed I kept one aside. There's a reason for that. Okay. So they're nowhere near melting, probably because there's so many of them in there. So I think we'll give it 20 seconds and we'll just keep an eye on that and see how it goes. So with the little Lego men mould, we're just going to pour straight in there. This one with the stars, now you may have noticed some of the soap that went in there was a yucky brown colour. It's not going to look really pretty, and if you're giving it as a guest soap, they're only going to get one. So it's really not going to be a particularly nice soap for them to get. They're melting. Well, not all of them. I'll probably give them another 15 seconds. Okay, so what I'm going to do is use the cosmetic grade glitter, and I'm just going to put it on here and tap a little bit inside the stars. And that way, for those that are looking a little bit plain, it's just going to make them really special. What I could do is not only just use the gold, the holographic rainbow glitter comes out really beautifully with all the little sparkles, so I might take a little bit of that into these. You can mix them together if you want to. And the thing that's really nice about your craft glitter is it's super, super fine. So you're not going to get lumps of glitter in it, it's just going to really nicely blend through. Okay, let's have a look at what's melted in here first. Okay. The brown's all melted. Now that was my yucky colour, the one I didn't want to use. It's not all melted, it's about halfway melted, so let's use the melted bit. And the thing with your guest soaps is it doesn't matter how thick or thin they are, because they're just going to be little guest soaps. And if they're too thin, you can use them as embeds in some of your other soaps if you want to. Here's the yellow one. Okay, let's make a little yellow Lego man. Use up that. The yellow star. Oh, it smells really nice, pina colada, that's the one we use for the cupcakes. Now there's a little bit left in there, don't waste that, we'll just let that sit. We'll use that for something else in a little bit of time. The purple one's not quite melted. White, that one needs a stir. The green one, let's have a look at the green one. Okay, so the white one needs a bit of a mix. Remember, these are all our leftovers, so they've all got fragrance in them. We really don't need to add anything into them. And because we're using the guest soaps, you'll get a whole variety of different flavours, or fragrances rather, so it really doesn't matter. Remember with the green, we didn't have as much, so we added a little bit more. Now you can remelt your melt and pour soap several times, and see how that's starting to go gluggy? That's just because it's getting cold. So we'll just pop it back in here. for another 10 seconds. The pink ones could do with a little bit more. He was in the middle. The middle ones in your microwave don't melt as quickly as the ones on the outside of the turntable. So let's give them all another 15 seconds. Oops, cancel, power, time, 15 seconds. Okay, so we've got one little Lego man and 3 of these. While they're just melting, let's imagine we take our big hodgepodge of colours and we melt them all down. They're going to turn into this sort of murky brown colour. So that's not going to be so pretty in your soaps. There we go, there's a white one. Let's make a white Lego man. Now, there's not really enough in there for another Lego man, so maybe we could mix it with something. Here's the green one. Let's make a green man. With your melt and pour, if you want to get a blend, you need to pour them at the same time. So just pour the 2 colours into the one. Let's see what happens with that. Good if they're contrasting colours too. Here's a little bit of the purple. Let's do purple man first. And then the leftovers in a star. And any of these little lumpy bits, let them set back up and we'll just mix them into our melting pot here. Okay, here's a white one, another white one. This one's a little bit brighter. I think the first one must have been a mix of the translucents and the white, but this one's just pure white, so it'll be a little bit brighter. What else is in here? 2 more. Let's have a look. Okay, a brown one. Let's put the brown as a blob in the middle of the white, see if it comes through. It'd be interesting to see if that makes a pattern, if it actually comes through to the other side. And a pink one. Smells like strawberry. That's from our strawberry cupcakes we were making earlier. Okay, so make a little pink Lego man. Little pink star. Those that I can use anymore? No, they're all set. That's going to be a thin little star. And then we'll reuse these. We'll peel them off once they're set. So we'll leave these ones to set and we'll come back in a few minutes and I'll unmold them for you. While those ones are setting, I've just popped them in the fridge to have them set up a little bit. Remember we had this disc and I said that I was going to keep this for something else? If you don't want the children to be using hot or melted soap, this is a nice little fun project where the kids can get to make some guest soaps of their own. So what you'll do is you'll take your soap and melt it, pour it into a pan. Your silicone pans are the best because they'll just pop out really easily, and you can use a cookware one. So in this case, it's just a little disc of the soap that I've taken out of the silicone muffin tin, and you can give the kids like a slab, just fairly thin. Make it as thick as you want your guest soaps to be. And with this one, I'm going to take a metal cookie cutter. This one's a star shape, and push down, cut all the way through, and then just carefully peel that off. And you'll find now I have little star-shaped guest soaps. This one's quite thin, but if it was a little bit thicker, they'd be fine to use as a guest soap. And the children can punch them out with all the different shapes and make a lovely little bowl or a basket of guest soaps that they've made on their own. You've got a little shape left over here. You've got some options for this. You can melt it back down if you want to, throw it in your dish and remelt it, or alternatively, you could use that as an embed inside your soap. Let's say you wanted to use this as your mould. You could put a little bit of clear soap in here so that you don't get an airlock. Pop your little shape like that in the base of it. If you wanted to, sprinkle some of your Renaissance cosmetic glitters or shimmers over the top. They won't show where the yellow is, obviously. They'll only show where the star is, so in effect you'll have a sparkling star. Pour a little bit of clear soap over the top of that just to set it, and then you can fill the rest up with clear soap. Remember to spritz in between so you don't get a slip in between your layers with your isopropyl alcohol, and then you can fill it up with clear soap, or if you prefer you can have a layer of white or different colours. And I'll show you some photos at the end of this of some that my daughter made last week using this process. I'll go and check if the others are ready now. Okay, so the guest soaps have set now. I've just popped them in the freezer for a couple of minutes just to get them set quickly to show you. So we remember we were talking about melting this down and it'll all go brown. You can use these tubes to make guest soaps as well. And what you do is you leave the sides and the base sealed, stand it in a glass or a cup or something so that it doesn't topple over, And then melt your soaps and just pour it in here and let it set. If you want, you can sprinkle a little bit of gold around the outside and then leave that to set overnight. Here's one that I've prepared earlier that's got the soap already in it, and that's set as well. So once your soap has set, just slide these plastic tubes off the side of your tubular mould, and you can use these for embeds if you're making a long soap, or you can use it for guest soaps. Find the edge that's separated there, peel it down, pop it out. Now this one, I didn't mix it properly. I wanted to see if I could create rainbow butterflies. So what I did is I just poured one colour, as you can see, and then I poured the other colour, and then I poured the rest, and then of course you can see I've got all the Renaissance Cosmetic glitter powders that I put in there as well. And now I'm going to cut that one up. So let's move this over. And so this is my loaf of my butterfly. I'll just chop off the rough bits at the end. I don't need those. What I could do is just get the whole loaf and put it in, and then I could slice my soap up a little bit, or I can cut these. I've sliced all of that up now, and here's one piece. So you can see you've got the lovely little butterfly shape, or if you had have made a star shape or a love heart shape, you'd be able to cut them into your little guest soaps, or alternatively put them in as your embeds. Now let's have a look at the other guest soaps which we made. Okay, clean your fingers in between, because if you get different colours or a bit sticky, you lose the shine off some of your soaps. So here's our little men that we made before, and these will come out really beautifully shiny, absolutely gorgeously shiny. So let's just pop them out, our little Lego men, white one, a pink one, another white one, that was our pale green one, and our purple one, which I think was left over from our amethyst soaps that we were making earlier. This one is a star tray. It's got a nice hard plastic, but it's also silicone. You can use lots of different shapes and ice cube trays for them. Look, and you can see in this one, if you have a close-up, the beautiful little sparkle effects that we've created by using the cosmetic shimmers and the glitter powders. So let's pop the others out and give you an idea of some of the colours and the sparkles, and then I'll give you a close-up shot where you can actually see all the finished one. Oh, the pink looks really pretty. That looks great. The green's nice too. Now remember, the green was half white and half green, and you can just see on it the different sides and the different shapes that you've got with this one. Okay, 3 to go. 1, a blue one with the gold sparkles. 2, a brown one with sparkles. And the last one, the one that we swirled the brown inside the white. Yeah, it has come through from the bottom a little bit, just in the centre of it, like a little lump. You can see more of the swirls on the back of it, but yeah, you can just see it coming through on the front a little bit. So I will give you a close-up of these ones in a second, but that is how easy it is to make guest soaps. So any little bits and pieces of soaps that you've got left over, don't waste them, melt them down, pop them into your guest soaps. With these little bits that are left in here now, don't waste those. Peel them off, and use all of your melt and pour scraps, peel all those little bits off, put them into a big tub and turn them into a brown soap. Maybe you might even make them into a glittery tube butterfly. Have fun with your guest soaps. So I thought I'd finished with the guest soaps, and then I remembered, as I packed up everything that I promised that I would show you, some guest soaps which my daughter had made the other day out of the Cutout method. So here they are. They've actually all been packaged up, so they're a little bit harder to see in the packets, but hopefully I can give you a bit of an explanation on them as well. So here's one where she's cut a star and a moon out of the white soap, poured the clear in, a little bit of glitter behind it, and then she's filled the back of the soap with a blue soap base. I think it looks really effective. This one, she wanted to make this look like raindrops, so she's cut the raindrops out. There is another one which had the inversion of that one as well, but I think somebody's already taken that one. And then these ones were made using a love heart cookie cutter, inside and outside, and placing the alternative pieces into it. Have fun!